So that it is very, very easy to trick the human mind. We have this big old brain that's constantly trying to translate the world around us into something that we can understand and work with. Our brain is quite simply always trying to make a map for us to use to navigate through reality. And so this causes humans to see things that aren't there, or rather to read interpretations to find patterns that don't necessarily actually relate to reality directly. And so another question arises. Does this happen with other animals? Can any other animals see the things that we can see? Now, if any of you were paying attention between the years 2019 and 2020, you may have noticed that something weird happened, something different that hadn't happened in 100 years. We had a quarantine. Everybody was stuck inside. It was boring. But you know what? Scientists, even the ones who were considered non-essential, still had work to do. So they started a giant citizen science project to answer this question of whether other animals can see the same things that humans see. Now, what's citizen science? Now, in most cases, a scientific experiment is done in a lab by trained professionals. You have doctorates and undergraduates and trained scientific assistants. This is, in fact, what I do during the summer. I have a bachelor's in botany, and I will go out into the mountains and count butterflies, count flowers, count plants, do a lot of different things. And this is regular science. Citizen science is when my boss says, we need to count all the butterflies in the park today, but we don't have enough workers to do that. So that boss goes to my direct boss and says, call up all the volunteers. And we put out a call that says, anybody who wants to help us come count butterflies can. So people come, they're trained how to properly count butterflies because there's rules to these things. And they go out and they get a count of the butterflies. Now, you need to get a lot of people to do this because they're not trained. They're going to make mistakes. But if you get a lot of people to do this, it compensates for that. So the mistakes don't matter and you can get a really accurate count of the butterflies. So all of these scientists who were stuck in quarantine and couldn't bring people to their labs decided they were going to do a citizen science experiment to determine if animals could see shapes that weren't there. Now, how did they do this? They said, okay, a lot of people have cats. Cats are the most popular pet in the United States. So they sent out emails to all the citizens say, would you like to do a fun experiment on your cats? It won't hurt them. They're going to have a lot of fun. And the experiment is this. Now, I'm sure you've seen the pictures going around the internet of cats sitting in boxes. Lions, tigers, house cats. Big cats like boxes. They like chewing on boxes, they like scratching on boxes, but most importantly for this experiment, they like sitting in boxes. And someone discovered, to their amusement, that cats also like sitting in imaginary boxes. And you've seen the pictures, cats sitting in squares made of tape or paint on the ground. It's funny, it's amusing, it's cute. But scientists want to know, would a cat sit in an imaginary box? So, this is how they set up the experiment. They said, now, cats are very clever and they know to look at their humans for cues. So they made all of the people who were doing the experiment wear mirrored sunglasses so the cats couldn't see their eyes, and so they couldn't take any cues from the humans. Then they had the humans print out two pictures. One was of a regular box, tape box, just 4 strips of tape on the ground that formed a box. Then the other one was an invisible box. Now, what is an invisible shape? Look at this image. Do you see the triangle? Well, that's very interesting because there's no triangle there. There are 3 circles with angles cut out of them that are arranged so that the empty space in between them gives the impression of a triangle. This is what we mean by a shape that isn't there. So they made a box that wasn't there by using 4 circles with right angles cut out of them and putting it on the floor. And did it work? Did cats actually go and sit in these shapes? Well, of the 500 citizens that they requested to do these science, only 30 of them followed all the instructions well enough for their data to be good. But sure enough, the cats sat in the invisible squares. And so, yes, humans are not the only ones who can be tricked and who can play these brain games. Cats will also play these brain games just as gladly as humans will. So, does that mean that the square or the triangle is actually there? Is the shape that isn't there or wasn't there actually there? if an animal who doesn't have our same hangups can see it? What do you think?